Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start recording. Just let me know on the date for your final project if you have not decided on your final project. April 17th, if you're going to compare, contrast two stories. The papers due that day, PowerPoint presentation, and you have to present. And I have 3 people so far doing that. Then some people are reading short stories. If you're reading your short story, you can do that on the 24th or May 1st, same day. Is our last option in order to do that, because the exam is going to take about 30 minutes probably at the most for you to finish, finalize that. So starting April 17th is when we'll finalize our final project. And then we have one person that's going to do a drama. I'm super, super excited about it. I love the dramas. But if you're doing the drama, you have to write the screenplay and turn that screenplay in. And that's basically what you do for the drama. So that I see what character had to say what, and you basically have taken the story and turn it into a screenplay. You don't write your own, you just take that story and turn it into who says what, who moves where, and where they go, whatever. Okay? That's exciting to me always. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, can you hear okay that way, Haley?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to plop on this desk and hope it helps some. I'm not moving the microphone. Chrysanthemums. Let's talk about that first, because that is your story for this week. And look at the questions if you have anything on discussion board that you're not sure of. But I had some people earlier that were discussing the story, so I'm going to kind of leave the class discussion up to them as far as what they gathered from the story. So first and foremost, let's kind of summarize the story in case anybody by chance I'm going to be mad at today that didn't read the story already. What happens at the very beginning of the story? Who would like to talk and summarize the story a little bit? Haley, anybody on your end? I'll let y'all do it for a minute. I'll let you speak first if you want to summarize the story before we jump into it.
Well,
unless you want to pass.
Okay.
She's like tending the flowers.
Yeah, so it starts out doing, what's she doing?
Tending to her chrysanthemums.
Yeah, okay, so she's out in the field. Out in her front area. Let me turn this, okay. Y'all see do you see the class, Haley?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. Okay, so she's outside tending her flowers, and then up comes, she sees somebody coming down the lane. And what does by coming down the lane that say to you?
What?
They live like on a farm or in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they live far off the road. It's down the lane, so we know she lives on this farm area that's kind of off the beaten path and not near a town or a city. To get the setting right.
Her husband's talking to 2 men and they're smoking cigarettes.
What's he talking about?
The meat people, the steers or whatever.
Yeah, they came to buy cows, I guess.
Yeah, well, tell the story.
And
So
the
he's out.
husband leaves.
Then a tinker guy comes down.
Yeah, he sells before that happens, he sells, so he asks his wife to do what?
Is that when he asked her?
Let's go to dinner. He didn't call it a date. But he said, I saw these guys, let's go to dinner tonight. And then he asked her, talk a little bit, and I don't want to do the talking. Y'all talk. What does he say? Because this is going to come back up later at the end. But before he says to her, because this comes back up again later on at the end of the story.
He talks about her flowers.
Yeah.
And then he's like, maybe you can take care of the orchard, I think.
Yeah, he talks about her flowers a little bit. They look good, but what does he say? He mentioned something about his child. Yes, Emily. What does he say at the beginning that comes back at the end? So it's going to be circular. He says it.
Does he talk about the fight?
Yes. Yeah. He mentioned something because that's going to come back up at the end. And then that's significant because it starts out that way and it ends up in the end the same way. So yeah, he says jokingly, yeah, you want to go to the fights tonight? Or what does she say? So we have to think in our mind, why is he asking this of her? And why does she say no? And it says, why does he say it jokingly? So be thinking about all of these things, because that's coming up again at the end, and you're going to have to realize something comes as to why that's happening. Right? So at the very end, I mean, so then she says, no, you know, that's not for me or something, I think she said.
Like, I was like,
Oh, I wouldn't like the fights. Why wouldn't she like the fights? We'll talk about that all in a minute. Yeah. So, so she goes outside, he goes on off, up the hill to get the cattle in or whatever he's doing. Then comes the Tinker Patrick, and they talk about him coming down the lane.
He's like, says he's hungry, asks her if she has any pots he can repair for her, and she's like, no. She's kind of like aggravated that he's there, kind of annoyed.
And then he asks about the flowers, and she's like, okay.
Oh, she lets her guard down. He's reached that one little thing that is a weakness for her, right? That's what? Showing some interest in her babies. Babies, my flower, the things that I love, I'm proud of, that make me who I am because I've created these beautiful things. So she identifies herself through these beautiful things she's created. Okay? Real good. Then what?
Is that when he asked for like the pot with them in it, like a?
Yeah. So he sees how much so he asks her questions about it. Then he says, well, you know, there's this lady that down the road was just asking about that. And, you know, so he says, and so what does she say when he says that? They had a conversation about this lady.
she thought that she should already know it.
Yeah, she's going like, if she kind of in a funny way, like, she should know that.
Yeah.
If that lady's doing so-and-so, she should know that. But she thinks something's funny, but what? She's going, oh, well, let me get you this flower. You know, let me just go ahead and get you some to take to it. And she's all interested in it. So what does she do?
She goes and gets them.
She gets a red.
Yeah, she gets this really cute pot.
I feel like she's doing that to kind of get rid of them. Like,
You did?
take the flowers and, yeah, like, I don't have anything.
Okay, so at first she says no, she didn't have anything for him. I'm gonna try to move this over so you can hear everybody. First she says she didn't have anything for him, and then then she, oh, well, let me go get this pot, I'll put this plant in this pot, and you take this to her. Then after she does that, then she gives him what? He broke it down now. He's gotten that precious thing that she treasured so. So now she's willing to give.
She gives him 2 pans to fix for 50
So
cents.
she gives him some more stuff. Here, you can fix this. Even though I can fix it, you can't fix it as good as I can fix it. I can fix it as good as that. But she gave it to him anyway. I'm gonna fix it. So, oh yeah. So he's like kind of broken her down a little bit. So there's something she starts, at first she's dressed all like a man, a boy coming out with a cap on her head and everything. And then there's a time that she begins to come out of that demeanor. When is it? Yeah, her first time is she takes that hat off. Well, the hat signifies boy, man. Then she takes the hat off. And then she does what with her hair? I forget what it says. She flips it or something. What does it say? Y'all look at your
She was looking for like straight fusion hairs or something.
There was a little hair that got loose. It kind of came out. A little fugitive curl or something that came loose from her cap. Read that section if you find it.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. Because that's going to help us in the end when it comes to and it's going to help you with some of the discussion board questions.
She touched the under edge of her man's hat, searching for fugitive hair.
Yeah, so she touches the under edge of her man's hat, searching for fugitive hairs,
She didn't
thinking
take the head off. She took her gloves off and then touched the hairs under the hat.
she never took her hair. I thought it said
She
in her
did
head.
take the gloves off after.
Somewhere, y'all keep looking, because I swear I think it said she took her hat off and shook her hair or something. She did something to her hair.
I know that for a fact.
I don't have mine with me. I didn't even bring it. I was thinking of the girls would have theirs down.
She tore off her battered hat and shook out her dark pretty hair.
Yes, there it is.
That came later though.
later. Yeah, eventually she,
Was apprehensive, I think, about taking.
yeah,
it
she
out, right?
shared, it just lets us know she had a man's hat on and the fugitive curls, just making sure everything was up on the, no curls, no hair, nothing that showed that, which is what is a woman's glory, is her hair. So, but then she takes it off and shakes it out. And first she didn't want any hair showing. She said a fugitive hair's gotta go, anything coming loose needs to go up under her hat, man's hat. But now she decided to take this man's hat off, shake out her curls, so they're everywhere free, you know. So now what? Then so when he's there, then she starts this little feeling good about herself because she reaches out to do what when he's standing there, the little tinker man. She goes to touch his leg, touch him, period, but to touch his leg, but you know, that's, you know, not normally if you touch your arm or something, but to touch a leg, that's kind of like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more than just touching somebody's arm or hand or something, just be touching his leg. So, yeah, so she does that, but then what? Then what happens?
She goes and gets the pot.
Yeah, she pulls away and she says, let me go get you some pots, you know. But he kind of broken that shell because she's now reached out for him. She wants to live his life because she's asked him, let me go with you. I could do this. Oh, no, you couldn't do that. It's not a place for a woman. And how do you know it's not a place? I can do it, you know. So she's kind of feeling herself now, feeling a little bit good about herself. Feeling, yes, I could do this. I could do that. And then he puts her in a place, no, you couldn't. But so then she gets in the pots. He does the pots. He takes the pot with the flowers in them, and he drives on off until she's feeling all good. So now what does she do after he drives off with her precious flower?
She goes to take a bath.
Yeah, what happens there?
She scrubs her skin.
Why? What is that symbolizing?
She feels dirty when she does though.
She feels dirty?
Maybe because of the flirtation between the two.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like she's unhappy at all when she's taking that bath.
I think that's why she's scrubbing her old stuff. Like, it's like this.
Yeah, she's scrubbing all the old dirt and grime of the man body, and now she's looking at her.
She's
She's looking in the mirror.
They have more to offer than to have. Sorry.
She sees herself now as I'm beautiful. Her skin was glowing, fresh. What does it say? Describe, it's a paragraph that describes what she sees in the mirror and how she perceives herself. Yeah, scroll down a little bit. I can't remember the exact words or the wording of it, but she has made some little bit of a transformation. All right, Emily?
And then she scrubbed herself with a little.
Read it loud so hey,
And then she scrubbed herself with a little block of pumice, legs and thighs, loins and chest and arms until her skin was scratched and red. When she had dried herself, she stood in front of the mirror of her bedroom and looked at her body. She tightened her stomach and threw out her chest. She turned and looked over her shoulder at her back.
Now, isn't that a feminine thing? You're just looking at yourself, you know, you stuff your stomach in, you turn on, you look all sexy at yourself. You know, so she's feeling all good about herself. Now she's feeling like a woman. She has a body, she's feeling a little bit of something.
So that means her husband didn't make her feel it.
Not yet. And then maybe he does. We don't know that. We're just imagining maybe he did. All right, because we also know they don't have children. She's an older 35 or something, so I don't know why they don't have them if she couldn't have them, or maybe they never had sex or did a lot of sex or something. I don't know. She's just there to perform her duties to clean the house. We don't know any of that yet, but you can assume it, whatever. So, all right, so then what? Once she sees her body, then her husband comes in and says, what?
You look nice.
You look different. You look happy.
Yeah, he says, you look different. Nice, actually. And she says,
What do you mean by nice?
what do you mean by nice? And he says what? I don't know, kind of strong. But what does he take to her moment? He takes her moment and he puts her, that
It's a
word,
manly aspect again.
strong.
Yeah,
He threw it into the man world again. Because he didn't know how to say beautiful, lovely, you know, I want to touch
said
you.
you look strong enough to break a calf over you.
There you go. Yeah,
Happy
so.
enough to eat it like a water hose. That is
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just puts her like, just like a buddy.
He just dropped her confidence and knocked her to zero.
Yeah, he said, you're strong enough to break an ox over you. And she's like feeling all upset, like, You don't see me as a woman. You still see me as this man that works the field or whatever.
She faltered, but then she said, I'm strong. I never knew how strong before.
Yeah, so she says it in a different way. I'm strong, but I never. So in her head, what is she? He says, yeah, I'm strong, but I never knew how strong. So now she's feeling strong, not breaking a calf over your knee kind of strong, but inside of her, yes, it's beginning to come out.
Intrinsic.
Yes.
Is that
Who I am as a woman, not as a guy who can break a calf over the leg and eat it like a watermelon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what happens at that moment?
He went and got the car.
Yeah, the car brings the car around. She's kind of almost. I get the feeling she's strutting. I don't know how it says that she gets there, but
She took her long time to put on her hat, pulled it there and pressed it there. She slipped into her coat and
slipped into her coat. She took a long time to
But
get
she
her
did
hat.
take time.
Yeah, it took her time trying to be beautiful, you know, and did a womanly thing.
Fashionably lit.
Fashionably laid, took her time, then she slips. It didn't just say you put your coat on. She slips into her coat. Oh, kind of like.
So she's just trying not to let her husband hear it.
Yeah, I'm not getting. I'm still going to maintain this womanly physique, this womanly feeling that I have. I'm feeling all sexy and feeling all good about myself, and I'm going on my date. And I was telling the class earlier, before I do that, on like Saturday night's my date night. I'm talking all personal stuff, but on Saturday night I dress and feel differently. Because, like if we just go run down to the Chinese place, I just wear whatever I got on. But if I'm going on a date night, I don't wear jeans. That's not a date night thing. I mean, and that's my husband sees me in jeans and sweatshirts and whatever all 6 days a week. But then on that one night, it's his night to show me or whoever, you know, and for me to enjoy his company, for me to look nice and sexy, because that's our time. That's his. So it's a different time. So this is kind of that same feeling.
Kind of like you're giving him the chance to show you all.
Yeah, it's your time to be womanly and to be, this is my wife, and be proud of me, you know, sort of with a baseball cap on my head and looking scummy or something, you know, like this is my wife and, you know, proud of me. And then I'm also, he's looking at me differently than he looks at me during the week, like, what's for dinner?
Yeah. When you
Turn the channel.
Farther into the story, he's starting to realize that he's starting to like her like that. Because he said, you're changed again.
Yes, well, yeah, he noticed that she changed. And we'll see when she changed that. So that moment that she became that person for him, but she became it for her because it made her feel good about herself. And that's what's true to me on date night too. It's when I feel beautiful and I feel good and I feel good about myself and I'm, you know, looking all cute and everything. Go out and looking all cute. You know, so that's something with
Turning
you as
heads.
well. It's exactly right.
That may be.
And I think it makes him feel good too, because when they're having a conversation in the car, he was they were having like a happy conversation. Like,
Yeah.
let's get wine at dinner tonight and just celebrate. He's like, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, so she's feeling good. Let's have wine and let's celebrate. So then she's feeling out, and then all of a sudden, this wonderful thing that has come out of its man shell sees what?
the dirt on the ground.
Yeah.
And just put the flower on the side.
He dumped it. Didn't even put it in the ditch where she couldn't see it. Did what to? Y'all with my conversation, Priscilla, or y'all with y'all's?
Yeah,
y'all. Let's not forget what you guys said about this. Share it with me and us. Yeah. But share with us some instead of just the two of y'all. Y'all do that a lot. Just say, hey, you know, Miss Frank, we all share. Feel free. Share about it. We would love it.
I know, I was just telling her that I had.
Because you all have great things to say in your journals. You just don't say them in here. Because I'm like, why don't you say this in class? Why don't you say this in class? They need to do more of that. All right, so next question, where were we?
As
I'll
they were going down
Thank
the
you.
road, she noticed that he dumped the pot but kept it.
Yep.
Yeah, he dumped the
He was
flowers
waiting
out.
for her to get what he wanted, but it wasn't the flower.
Mm-mm.
And then that's when she turned to her husband and said, it's going to be a good night. We're going to have a good night.
Yeah, what does she actually say when she sees the pot? She says,
She said he could have just dumped it. on
she's
the
thinking, is that what I think it is? She saw it, but she didn't want to believe that really was.
And then she saw a caravan with the horses, and then she turned away because she knew that was
Right, that he had just, basically that piece of part of her that she had shared, he just discarded.
I think she knew at
Yeah,
that point
she
that
said he
he
had
had
kept the
used her
pot,
to-
that's why he couldn't get them off the road.
Yeah, because he just threw the flowers out like that, so they didn't go into the ditch or whatever, so she knew he just was after the pot.
Pot, you know, 'cause-
All he wanted was a pot, he sweet talked me, he did everything, all he wanted to do was pot. He didn't want where he could make a profit and carry with him somewhere, he didn't want the flower that she'd given it,
it's a special part of it.
yeah, the special part of it. So then what happens to her demeanor, her tone?
She asked me about the fights again.
Yeah, sorry, so coming back to that, when
She's defeated.
Yeah,
Seemed
that's
like she
exactly
was
what
defeated.
when she saw those flowers
she
over there.
Again, once again.
Or just duped.
It's
I
like,
don't know if that's the right word, or just
it's like
duped.
he made her feel special and want to come out more womanly, but then she saw the flower as little grown out, and it's just like, why did I do this?
Right, so what was it all for? He just tricked me, he just used me, so she immediately started to, but then she didn't want to get down so much, but then she says to him, but she hadn't reached that point yet, so she says to him.
When she was strong, kind of came back into it.
So she's going back to say, okay, do girls go to that fight? Let's go to the fight. Do women go to that fight? So now she's going back to strong in what kind of a way? Man way. I'm going to go to this fight. I'm going to be your buddy. I'm going to go to this fight. And so she's like, all right, well, maybe I will step out of my zone. She was all mad. I'm going to this fight. And then he goes, you wouldn't like it or something. What does he say? Read it out.
He said, what's the matter? I didn't know you read things like that, because she was talking about how she read about the fight.
Yeah, I read about the fight. Yeah, so he goes, you read about something
And then he
like that?
said, do you want to go? I don't think he'd like it.
Yeah.
But I'll take you if you really want to go.
But
Yeah, so now in the end, he says, but I don't think you'll like that. If you really want to go, I'll take you.
I think he was just realizing that, like, she is feminine, so he wanted to make her more comfortable. She didn't want to go. I think that's what hurt her feelings. Because she went back to her manly demeanor.
Then she does what? How does it kind of
It
end?
says she
She-
relaxed.
She did this, and she hid that she was crying.
Kind of just backs down
But it says like a cold woman.
like an old woman.
Resignation.
And she basically, why? Why does she cry?
Well, because that man earlier in the story with the flowers in the pot made her feel like a woman again. And then when she saw that, it just broke her. She didn't get the respect that she felt she deserved, maybe, or, she couldn't.
That she couldn't
shouldn't
come
have
out from
flowers
under
for
there.
her babies. So maybe she just felt like it was just that it was used.
Well, maybe, you just ignited that fire that needed to be ignited. And,
it was quickly dashed.
yeah, exactly. And then make, like with the hole with the pants leg, and, him sweet talking her and her just needing that or wanting that. And I don't even know where I'm going with that in my head.
This is a person against person.
Well, it's more inner, person against self.
Yeah.
Yeah, because her battle's within.
Yeah.
Yeah, her husband is not being mean to her. He's just how is he treating her though?
As a cattle.
Treating her as a buddy,
The
but
stereotypical.
I feel like she wanted to be viewed some type of way because of how other women are viewed. And she wasn't viewed that way, so when she did put her card down and be viewed the way she wanted to be, like other women, it backfired on her, so then she just went back to the way she was. She didn't get hurt that way.
She resigned herself, she put back on that cloak of, manliness or whatever, just kind of resigned herself with this is the life and I can never be free to explore, to get on that ship, to go to the fight, to get on the boat, to go get on that wagon to go where I need to go, or, and she just resigned herself as this is just what my life is going to be, so I might as well. I don't know that she ended up happy about it being her life once she
because it just
found herself for
She was
there.
crying like an old woman. That's how it ended.
Well, maybe
She
she took
just,
the money from his cattle that he sold and went on a cruise somewhere.
But
And still
most
live
of those in those days, you're paying for your keep. You
Yeah.
don't have that money to do those things. You work hard on a ranch. That's what ranch farm women did. They worked hard on the ranch. There was not an opportunity to be feminine
Yeah, like the ranch women were just like one of the guys living on the ranch because it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
It's
there
a
was.
lot of responsibility.
Mhm. And she had that moment that man reminded her that she was indeed a woman.
So she
And
had
that,
femininity left in her.
yeah, that he was interested in her, and and she began to see herself a little bit maybe of the same way, because she cleaned out the old, I'm gonna be a new me.
So
I
maybe
think she
he,
went back to the same.
I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
was just figuring, like, why did she feel so manly when she had such a passion for flowers?
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's talk about the chrysanthemums then.
Well,
Let's say
maybe
the
those are like
significance.
her escape, because she does other work on the farm, and maybe that's just her one way, her one little piece of work that makes her feel feminine again. Just for that few
Motherly,
hours a day.
feminine, that part of her
She
feminine.
doesn't, the story doesn't say anything about family or anything.
Yeah, so that's where she's a woman. She doesn't have children, but she has these chrysanthemums, and they transform. And chrysanthemums, what's the definition of chrysanthemum? Anybody looked up what the symbol of a chrysanthemum is?
One of them says sorrow and grief, and one said joy.
Remembrance.
Bring joy, to bring in the new season.
Yeah, well, that's what its significance of.
For question number 6, is there white
Chrysanthemums.
and not roses or daisies
Right.
or lilies or whatever? And I said because those flowers are like more delicate.
Right.
Chrysanthemums
Yes.
are more
Hardy.
stronger, like the person
Right.
wants to
That's
be.
exactly right. Chrysanthemums are strong and hardy, and they don't need a seed. They can just bloom off of themselves, so they can keep coming back, and so they're easier to tend, they're easier to bloom back. They're hardier flowers.
It's in the cold.
They're very beautiful, so I think that's where she gets some beauty from.
Yeah. And hers were really big and beautiful because she tended them, she knew how to tend them. That was the aspect of her nurturing side. That's all that she had to really nurture.
Take a while to like bloom because you could tend them for a little while and they bloom later on in the season. So
Yeah. So if you're
And it's
sudden,
like-
she's this chrysanthemum.
this is like a strong like
So it's like a
takeover
symbol of her
plant, but
life.
at the end it
In a way, too.
It made me understand my mom, my
Yeah.
grandmother, because she has a yard full of
Of flowers.
a lot of chrysanthemums.
Chrysanthemums.
She has lines and lines of them.
Oh.
Especially, just a few months ago, yes, they were pretty, and it just, I just resonated with.
Yeah, it resonated in there. So it does speak to change. It speaks to the idea of women's roles, how the chrysanthemum symbolized her as a woman, not only in her beauty but in her strength, and how she's viewed by different things. But she wasn't viewed at that beautiful comparison of the chrysanthemum. So it's just a really cool story to me. Any other comments about it? Anything that you took from the story that we haven't really, we're looking at it really deep. We don't know all these things. We're analyzing.
I feel like the story's kind of a symbol of the flower, of course, is like a symbol of her life because it took her a long time to find the optimism and the joy and beauty that she had just for this few minutes.
Her inner beauty and her inner strength, and she lived it and enjoyed it
So
for
it took a while for her to actually go into her own flower.
That's good. Yeah, it did. It's a good one.
I still ain't understand. The other personas, so I just can't.
What's
I
number one?
tried.
Why do you think he chose to keep distance from his character?
Oh, and Steinbeck. Yeah.
And is it a weakness or a strength?
Right. All right. So with Steinbeck's story, and Steinbeck. Let me talk a little bit about. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll talk a little bit about Steinbeck. He was a writer, but as part of his writing, he wrote about migrants working in hardworking farms, and he used to be a migrant worker. He would travel from farm to farm, and he'd see the hard life that the people on the farm worked, and the hardships that they had, and their life choices that they made of Mice and Men. If any of you've read of Mice and Men, where the characters have to go from farm to farm to make a living to help the people out, and so their drama, their hardships, and he's written a lot about that. So we see the characters from the outside, and we base our judgments on what we see. He doesn't get in there for us to know these people because they're wandering people. They're going from place to place. They don't know. No one really ever gets a chance to know them because they move from place to place. These migrant workers. But on the farm, the life is hard. Why doesn't he want us to see? It could be anything that you think. Look up Steinbeck's characters, his point of view. That's what you should look up. Why does he use this point of view in this story? What is his intent as it relates to the characters? Why doesn't he let us get inside of each character to see what they feel? Those are the questions number one is asking kind of you. But to find that out, you're going to have to look up why he chose this point of view. He's third person. And we don't know anything about the characters other than what, and he uses a lot of adjectives. How do we know what she thinks and feels when he doesn't tell us? She doesn't say it.
The adjectives.
Those adjectives that he uses, she did something with her flowing hair. She, y'all read it out loud. She slips into her clothes. Yeah, his adjectives that he used really did let us perceive how she felt without actually us being in there like we're in the story. So we see it through his characters. So he kept his distance. So why did he keep this distance?
Maybe before I thought, maybe he wanted us to remember what we wanted to think about the story.
Yeah, to perceive it from an outside perspective. The tinker was an outside. He came in. He saw the weakness. We see her little weakness with her flowers only through the actual story. We see when her husband mentions the flowers or whatever, how she feels, and we see when she cries, and all these things we learn through not getting in the character's head, but just through the way he's describing, like you say, the setting, the description of the setting, imagery that he's portraying for us. We should see it from our perspective. So it's all your point of view.
I also thought about, the chicken wire fence. They keep saying that.
Yeah.
And the tinker comes over there and leans on the chicken wire fence around her chrysanthemums.
Yeah.
And her husband does that too. Is that her cage?
Yeah. Her protection
Yeah.
against the outside world, if the hardships are willingly her innocence, her protection, absolutely can be. I didn't thought about something like the cage. Yeah.
And then the dogs too, because they also said later in the story that when she got angry, she bared her teeth just like the dogs under the wagon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
kind of trapped. Just in a way, trapped in a life. They're trapped behind a barrier, behind a wall, behind a fence, behind a life.
On this website, it says that Steinbeck displays an extraordinary ability to delve into the complexities of a woman's consciousness.
Right. Without letting us, he's diving in there. He's letting us see or feel what she's thinking. We don't know for a fact, but we are actually feeling it. We see her look the way he describes it.
It's for the emotion. We capture the emotions.
That's a good point. Very well might be. So that you can see, and you can see subconsciously what she's thinking. We don't know anything. She never says how she's feeling outwardly.
No, but you can kind of feel it because of the imagery.
That's exactly right. But because the way he's describing the things, we see what's inside of her. We see an emptiness. We see an unfulfilled part of her that she thinks at first this tinker's going to feel because she wants to go off with him and explore the world. And so it kind of gives her this idea that, okay, well, maybe I can do that, and then I'll find some other way to explore the world. I'll go to the fights. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll be strong in a different way.
Or she also knows how to sharpen her own scissors. She can go and get a job and sharpen her own scissors.
Yeah, that's true. She couldn't leave the farm.
Yeah. Or maybe she just stay there and do her own thing.
Kind of make her own way. Well, women didn't have those options in those days. Back in those days, women didn't have an option. You were a saloon girl, or you were a very wealthy somebody, and you were a prima donna, or you were.
The husband could help her, open up her own greenhouse for her. She didn't have that. That could be her part of taking care of putting her part of her money into the farm.
And doing part of it and bringing in money, but that wasn't women's roles back in those days. Women didn't have a role to be money makers.
Her role was take care of the home, take care of the children, and the children and the husband. She didn't have that. That's right.
Any other questions or comments about that? That was really good insight. Thank you, Dawn, Kara, very good. Please share, because what y'all share, you share some really good things in your journal that only I get to see. When I'm giving you good grades, I expect you to share some of the rest of us too. That means it lets me know you've read the story ahead of time. Yeah. That's the funny thing about short stories is there's so much beneath the surface that's not said, but it's all in a short amount of time, a short format.
But that's what makes it so interesting because you know
A lot
you
of
can
symbols.
You get so much in a short period, you can get in the whole novel.
That's right. Just takes, it's faster moving.
I enjoy like I
And
want
it never is in depth. And there's usually not a happy ending. It's just not how short stories work. There's not happiness in the end. There's somebody resigned to the fact, there's some resolution that they're going to accept whatever it is that the hardships of the trials or the tribulations that you have to accept.
And most of them that we read is either sad or death.
Yeah, it's mostly death. True. Most everyone that you do read, there's nothing happy. Something has died or something has turned out completely opposite, like the necklace wasn't worth anything, the pots found on the side of the road destroying her self-confidence, something like that. So nobody died in that, but at least she did die inwardly.
Oh, absolutely.
She did.
When I initially read about the dirt on the side, I initially thought she was upset because of the hard work because she put into her consignment. She takes so much pride into her work. But then I started to think,
That's true too.
Is it because of his rejection?
Yeah.
Is it because she liked him so much? And it's like he rejected her almost like maybe she was gonna see him again or something.
There was some rejection there. And I don't know that she fell for him in that short amount of time, other than he gave her attention that she must have desperately needed.
Her breast swelled when she was like kneeling down and looking up at him. And one point she said her breast swelled.
Yeah, so all of that is she had some little something that was bringing her inward, lust and
Flattery that he presented his paper that.
yeah. And plus he's well traveled. Here she lives on the farm. She's sheltered from everyone but her husband and the workers there. And here up comes this real dapper looking man in a nice suit that she thinks has money. Tinkerty has lots of things. He's traveled all the world. So who he is interesting to her. She's like, ooh, golly. And he looks fine. I forget, I don't even know if it says. I don't remember anything it says about his looks particularly.
Greasy.
Gray hair.
Black cracked hands. Black cracked hands too, right?
I don't know about that. How did she describe it?
Big bearded man.
Bearded man. Did they describe him? Did he have a suit on?
Big stubble, bearded man.
But it was streaked with grease.
Grease. When somebody like, why would that even interest her? Exactly. That way.
Yeah.
Dirty hands and cracked hands. I don't know. I missed that part. I didn't get that part. All right, so let's real quickly talk about that was the one for your journal. Hopefully that helps you some kind way. Talk about that. I guess they'll go over that next week when they come, if they do come with everything. How about, what's the next one? Yellow wallpaper. Oh, I love that one. I didn't do the writing on we didn't do a discussion board for the yellow wallpaper. A lot of people read that and discussed it in high school. Some of them too. But the yellow wallpaper is a famous one as well. That's very well known. Who wants to talk about the yellow wallpaper?
About a woman, she just had a child. Postpartum, stuck in a room all the time. Her husband kind of puts her down, and she like stopped right.
And he had she had mental problems.
Postpartum depression.
We didn't know such a thing as that at the time, but we were assuming that's what it was, postpartum depression or something. But she was tender, she was fragile, she, as a woman, they wanted to let her rest. So they take everything from her, all of the things that make her special, her writing and her things, and they said, no, that's stressing you, let's separate from all of that and you just go in this room and rest.
When her bed knelt to the floor.
Yeah, I think they went to some big house that was supposedly, you know, a getaway for them. But I don't know, was it an asylum? Was it not an asylum? I don't know. He was a doctor. He's looking for medical reasons, wanting to give her rest as opposed to. So in doing so, how does he contribute to her mental illness?
He makes it worse.
Makes it
And
worse.
how? Yes, Haley.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying he's making it so much worse because he's just, you know, turning her into a recluse, and that's like the opposite of what she needs.
Yeah, so her ways to express herself and to get all of those feelings and those hardships out, he takes it from her.
He doesn't believe it either. So it's like
Yeah. Yeah,
He doesn't take it good. He does not believe I'm sick.
right. Or sad for any reason. He's trying to find some kind of medical thing,
You
excuse
laugh
for
at her
it.
when she makes comments about it.
He what?
I think he laughs at it too.
Yeah, because I forget exactly what he does. I can't remember the exact.
Well, I hate this quote. John laughs at me, of course, but one expects that in marriage.
Right, like she's being foolish little
Yeah.
woman who's
She
just
doesn't
foolish.
believe anything.
Yeah, takes her
He makes
lightly.
all the jokes about her illness
Yeah.
and stuff.
That's right, like, oh, you're just not strong, you're weak, little fragile thing, you know, you don't have it. You would just need to get let me see, let me go get my questions real quick on mine. All right, and so what ends up happening, go ahead, somebody who wants to share the story, for those people who haven't read it, seems to be a few. To finish telling what happened, so she goes into this room. Who wants to tell it?
She starts staring at the wallpaper.
Well, eventually she does.
After she starts hearing voices and seeing things moving around on it.
So what's this room she's in?
Isn't it like a chill?
Well, there's bars on the window and all that jazz, so it makes you kind of think that she's, you know, like Patrick was saying, it's like in an asylum or something.
Yeah. It's like a child's room.
Yeah.
It has bars on the windows. So the child's like more of a playful, you know, innocent thing, you know, so bars on the windows and this wallpaper, and she keeps, the longer she sits, she tries to write. Tell me a little bit about that.
She's hiding this journal.
She hides it.
Hide it
Why?
because he doesn't want her to work. Yeah.
What does writing do for her?
It's an outlet.
Yes, Patrick, it's an outlet. It's a way for her to, good word. It's a way for her to get out these feelings that she's having, the sadness, this whatever it is that's going on. And what does he do? Takes it from her. And do you think he's doing it intentionally to destroy her, or is it he just really believes that this?
He says she needs
I
to
think
rest.
that the husband really believes that there's nothing wrong with her and that it's all in her. So he's taking it away.
And just say you don't need this, you just need to rest.
And her brother has been saying the same thing to her. So my brother's a high physician and he says the same as John.
Yeah, because the men, you know, are feeling that's how women are. So they're just not, you know, they're fragile human beings, and, you know, she needs to have relaxation.
Back in the day, it was called hysteria, right?
Right, yeah, hysteria. Yeah, there wasn't such a term, Emily used it earlier, as postpartum depression, but maybe that exactly was what she was having.
That's what I got out of it.
And but they didn't call it that. It was, you know, just you being hysterical. It's just her way. It's her hormones. You know, doctors perceived it in that way. Is John to blame for her final madness when she actually tears down the wallpaper? We'll talk about that in a minute. Is he in any way to blame for the final bit?
When it comes to the wallpaper, she said it's dull enough to confuse the eye of the following, pronounced enough to constantly irritate and provoke study. And when you follow the lamp on certain curves for a little distance, it suddenly commits suicide. So I think the wallpaper being a little confusing, I think it just irritated just as much as she wanted.
Yeah. So what does she see in the wallpaper that sends her over this edge? And it really is symbolic of her.
The straight cheek and the tearing.
There's this woman she sees, and what's that woman doing?
Creeping.
And trapped behind that wallpaper and trying to get out and just can't get out, and she's creeping around. And is it her creeping around at night?
I don't think so. See, I got something totally different out of it.
I think that they might honestly be in the haunted house.
think it's actually haunted, or is it her creeping around her room, or?
No, it's the nurses in the crazy house she's in.
That's right. Could very well be that she sees these people, they're looking and checking on her all the time, but she see that she's caged
She
in.
first understood that like she didn't like that because it had been pretty much abandoned, hadn't been taken care of in years. I think that bothered her a lot. She wanted to know why it was like it was.
Yeah, so it was kind of a rundown place, so
Yeah,
it could have been an asylum. It doesn't say it was an asylum.
And her husband has no one, no heat, no anything. Does not want to do anything. The house better for her.
Well, he also says in here that he doesn't want to renovate because it's only a 3-month rental.
So maybe she thinks she's there because he's only going to keep her there about 3 months, let her out, let her rest. But in essence, the whole time it's an asylum.
Yeah, she has to get.
But she thinks that she's there because would he tell her he's sending her to an asylum? We're going to send you, we're going to our summer home, to this place, we're going to rent it for about 3 months, and she's in this room, nobody can come in or go out. Somebody does come in at the end, and that's when she escapes out of the room, or attempts to escape out of the room. So at the beginning, so her progression from the wallpaper at the beginning to the end, what is that significance of? Because at first she doesn't see the wallpaper and all of that as bad, but at the end it declines down. We don't know how much time span it's gone over, but what is that telling us as it's symbolic of her own health?
That she's deteriorated.
The more
she's tearing down her own self, tearing down, the walls of her brain, tearing down, scratching at her skin. I don't know. I don't really know how to.
It's the truth.
Articulate it, but
that's what she's doing. In essence, she's broken.
Yeah.
At the end, where she's completely gone. She's lost her sanity there at the very end, where she's crawling all along the floor and
at the shoes. No, is it shoes?
I forget what it says.
Yes.
How do you know that she's basically defeated and caved in, and basically it's over for her? Because she tries to fight it at the beginning. She wants to write, then she completely stops doing that. What lets you know she's really basically defeated?
I want to say is this word keeps creeping out to me is pattern. There's always a pattern. So maybe this is the pattern for her, and then, her husband's finally tired of it, and that's when he commits her, and then, takes the baby, and there's postpartum depression, and I think the nurse is probably having an affair with the doctor. I mean, seriously.
Could have, we don't know.
She hears
or someone might be having an affair with him.
I think that she is in like a crazy house because she's on routine medication at certain hours of the day, every day. So it's like, again, it's like that pattern. Everything's the same for her no matter what. She's not going to escape it.
At the end, she says, I've got out at last, in spite of you and Jane, and I've pulled off most of the papers so you can't put me back.
Right. So tell me why that's meaningful to you. What that particular
she was trapped
is
behind
saying.
the wallpaper. And after she got it down, she felt like she wasn't trapped anymore. Like she couldn't be held back and contained anymore.
As if she pulled all the pieces off that he thought were broken.
Right. That's a good
Or
point.
she's breaking the pattern. Maybe
could
she
be.
got strong
Maybe
enough
she's
in breaking the
decided.
pattern.
But
How
it
does she
also
look?
says that John went to get her out. He needed the key. He had to break the door. And then, like, in the end, it was like.
So that tells us she's locked in there.
Why should that man have fainted? But he did, and right across my path by the wall, so that I had to creep over him every time.
Yeah. So in the end, when he gets through, then he falls out. Why does he?
I think he used all of his energy trying to get her out, and then his body just gave up.
What happens to him in the end, and why does it happen to John? Is the narrator actually triumphant at the end? Does she lose or does she win? Is she over the edge and can't come back, or did she actually escape? Or maybe she escaped into madness, or did she escape out of it. What's she doing at the end?
She's creeping over him every time.
She's creeping all along the thing, and she just keeps stepping over him every time, and she's creeping over him, meaning, did you get crawling out of that? I got it out of that creeping. At least that's what I was thinking when creeping.
And I mean, the picture at the bottom shows that she's like kind of crawling over him.
When he's laying there, and she just keeps going round and round. So
I think she might feel lost now that like her husband is possibly dead, I guess. I don't really know if he died. It just says that he fainted.
we don't know what happened to him, if he had a heart, if he just saw her in the way that she had gone into madness. The eventual break into madness, and he saw her crawling with all the wallpaper, and she had just gone over the edge, and he couldn't handle it and just fainted. The way she was.
I think he was trying to get her out, and she told him where the key was. And he still wanted to like break down the door. So I think he realized that like.
Read that part in the end where he's
crazy.
trying to get in, and it's when he sees her. He's got that section. Where he actually sees her.
At the door. It is no use from it, he can't open it. And then it goes down the. It would be a shame to break down the beautiful door. John dear, said I, in the gentlest voice, the key is down by the front steps under a plaintive leaf.
He told who?
She told Josh where the keys were.
Oh, so she told. I missed that section. I gotta
Yeah,
reread it. I hadn't read it in a minute. Meaning what? What is it relevant to? Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean that she knew where the key was. I feel like he didn't lock her there. I feel like she locked herself there.
So that could mean that she wasn't
Because
locked
why
in.
would he not know
He
where the key
eventually
was?
got the key and came in.
Did the nurse know where the key was?
And then when he opened the door and walked in, he realized the craziness that was going on. Because he said, "What's the matter?" "What's the matter?" he cried. "For God's sakes, what are you doing?" And I kept on creeping just the same, but I looked at him over my shoulder. "I've got out at last," said I, "in spite of you and Jane, and I pulled off most of the paper, so you can't put me back." So I think she just finally went off the wagon. Went full on crazy.
She went off the wagon.
I don't think she was, honestly.
What? Tell what you think. We don't know. We don't.
I honestly really don't think she was crazy. Maybe she was depressed and everything, and and he didn't want to deal with it, and the nurse didn't want to deal with it, and just lock her in a room, isolate her, say, "There you go. Here's your medicine. Shove it down your throat, and tear off the wallpaper."
Because that's how women were treated with mental illness. They were put away and put in a quiet solitude, which stems from the fact, the thing that creates women and makes them want to express their creativity, they weren't allowed to do that. They couldn't express creativity in any kind of way. They couldn't be writers, artists, women of that day couldn't. They had to sit and look pretty for their rich husbands that were taking care of them, and they had to be the wife on the pedestal. Yeah, so that's very true. It could very well have to do with just putting her off somewhere because she wasn't able to, and it was embarrassing to him because she couldn't uphold the wifely duties of entertaining company, attending the children, and all that. So, yeah, that could very well be. I would say that's a definite possibility. Who else has a thought on that line? Haley and Patrick, I'm going to email you your paper real quickly, okay?
Okay.
I had it to come your way, but I just ended up scanning it a minute ago.
I don't think she knew what to do once the door was open. I didn't know if she felt like she could leave the room because that's where she's been for so long. Because she kept creeping over him with the door wide open. She kept pacing her normal route that she had been creeping the whole time he was looking. And she never thought for 1 second to walk out of the door and try and leave.
But isn't like back then they're always kind of good with their husbands told them to.
Yes, that's right.
So if he was on the ground and he wasn't really giving her permission to leave, she is at this point we don't know if he's dead or passed out or what. She might just be waiting for him.
Yeah. Good. trying to do two things at one
Because
time.
him being fainted right in front of her didn't stop her path. So I think you're right. She was just lost looking laying on the floor.
What does it say? Who's read up on it? Anybody's read the ending and what is it? The theme or thesis on it? I'm gonna email these so I can't talk at this to do two things. Because I will have emailed some kind of crazy something. I'll
Always
email
read
them.
the stories first.
Huh?
I haven't read that yet. With the themes stuff.
Yeah, look it up real quickly. Who's got the end? Because I didn't really do a lot of research or reminding myself of this
Examines
one.
the stifling roles that denied women freedom of expression.
Okay, that's what I thought it had something to do with, because she couldn't express herself. It drove her into she couldn't be the.
Says, the narrator, often identified as Jane, is driven mad by her inability to write or assert her own.
Yeah, and because her creativity was, did it come across, Haley? Patrick?
I haven't been able to check yet. Let me see.
Okay. All right. Well, good. We had a good discussion even without the little presentation today, so that was good. I love how we explored the story together, and all the different options that we have for it. So, chrysanthemums is due Sunday night. I will get every day use graded eventually. But so far, it's been so much better. And look, you all are really doing well. Don't let up. Do not let up on these journals. You only have one, and I'm expecting more from those one because you only have one. So don't let up on that here at the end of the semester. You all have such great insights on things that I hadn't considered, and I love when you tell me things. But don't forget to cite in every single question so that just like we did, I kept saying, you had an opinion. I said, where does it say that in the story? And you all would find me that place and read it to me. Find me that place that says what you think. And then we'll go from there. And then you just discuss it from there. So that's how you do it, finding those sources that support you. Good job.
You guys still have to do their responses?
No, that's your class. You don't.
Oh, you're welcome. Please create my paper. I've been waiting every single day.
I know. I went away this weekend. You didn't get it to me. I was gone for the weekend, and so I did not get anything graded. And yesterday I was in class all day, and as soon as I got out of class at 1:30, they said school's canceled. I was just grabbing on my cup and didn't take the paper. I did just grab my pocket. Everybody's rushing. Hurry up! The lights are on. I only got my pocket.
You can just give me an I appreciate it. That one. Yes.
Well, then you ask me ahead of time. Don't not wait till the last minute and do something like that. You missed all the citing. You didn't cite any literary critique. You didn't do any works cited page. That's a research paper. You gotta have all those things. Are you getting a tutor? Or are you gonna let you redo this one time? You gotta give it to me within the week, because I can't wait. Moving on to the next thing. Have you setting up with the tutor, Tom? Or you need to look up your literature resource center and find you some literary critiques? Are y'all good, Haley?
Yeah, well.